For the first time in 3 years, the National Cherry Blossom Festival is fully back in person. I'm talking the parade, the kite festival, Pedal Palooza. It's all back. So make sure you watch all the way through this video so you know exactly what's going on. Just a heads up, if you're watching this in early March, no, Washington, D.C. is not blooming yet. I'm trying out some new things with a green screen. So if you love it or hate it, leave me a comment and let me know. Now, let's start by talking about the official National Cherry Blossom Festival. In 2020, events were abruptly canceled. And in 2021, they were reimagined as virtual or socially distanced events. But this year, 2022, they are fully back in person. The festival always starts on March 20th, the first day of spring, with the opening ceremony show, which will be live at the Warner Theater and live streamed in case you can't make it in person. My personal favorite event, the Kite Festival, is back on March 26th with a rain date on March 27th. So you can bring your kite to fly at the Washington Monument or one of about a dozen neighborhood parks in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. The National Cherry Blossom Parade, probably the most popular event, is back for the first time since 2019. It will be on the morning of April 9th. And if you don't already have a grandstand ticket, there is free standing room only space on the parade route. Just make sure to get there early so you can snag a decent spot. One event that has changed notably is Pedal Palooza, which is on April 16th with a rain date on April 17th. If you want to go, know that it is in a new location this year. This event was historically held in Southwest DC, most recently at the Wharf. This year it's moving to Southeast to the Yards, primarily because there's more space over there. I personally think this is a good move, as it did get a bit claustrophobic when it was over at the Wharf. And of course, the grand finale is the fireworks show scheduled for 8:30 p.m. Another big change for 2022 is that Sakura Matsuri, the Japanese street festival, is not only back, but it's a 2-day event this year. It's on April 9th and April 10th, right in the heart of Pennsylvania Avenue. Pedal porches, which started in 2021 as a socially distanced event, are coming back. So if you live in DC and want to decorate your house, go for it. And these are just a small handful of the many, many cherry blossom events that you can check out. So after you're done watching this video, make sure to head over to the official National Cherry Blossom Festival website to see what else there is to do. By the way, I haven't even introduced myself yet. If you're new to this channel, my name is Rob. I'm a tour guide and the founder of Trip Hacks DC Tours. On this channel, I share my best tips, tricks, and hacks for exploring Washington, DC. So if you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future Washington, D.C. travel videos. And if you're coming to Washington, D.C. to see the cherry blossoms this year, leave a comment under the video and let me know when you're coming and what you're most looking forward to doing. Now, let's talk about peak bloom. Peak bloom is defined as the day when 70% of the cherry trees on the Tidal Basin are in bloom. On average, it happens around the first week in April. But as you can see from this table, it has happened earlier than that, and it has happened later than that. So if you're trying to plan an out-of-town trip around peak bloom, my advice is don't. Maybe you'll come and get lucky, but I really don't want you to be disappointed. Instead, come when you can, enjoy the events, and I'm sure there will be something in bloom, even if it's not the full-blown peak bloom. If you want to track the prediction for this year's peak bloom, you can do that on the Bloom Watch page of the official website, or from an unofficial source like the Capital Weather Gang in the Washington Post. Now, if you're planning to come to the Tidal Basin, either for an official event or just to look at the flowers, we need to talk logistics. I have every reason to believe that this year the Tidal Basin is going to be extremely crowded. Last year, in 2021, we barely had any out-of-town tourists during Cherry Blossom Month, and it was still very crowded. I expect this year might be back to pre-pandemic crowd levels. Now, the best way to get down to the Tidal Basin, if you are physically able, is with your own 2 feet. If you're visiting from out of town, a downtown hotel that's within walking distance of the tidal basin is going to be absolutely clutch. And yes, it's going to be expensive, but if you can afford the splurge, I think it could be worth it. The second best way to get to the tidal basin is on Metro. Unfortunately, this year is going to be tricky because Metro is still not back to 100% capacity. So I expect crowded trains and a lot of people. Pack some extra N95 masks if you're going to ride Metro. The absolute worst way of getting to the tidal basin is driving there in a car. Every year I say this, and every year people drive to the tidal basin anyway. It's really not a good idea. I have never seen worse traffic, gridlock, and road rage than I have the weekend of peak bloom. Now, if you have no other option and driving a car is the only way you can go, then you've gotta have a plan. What route are you going to take? Which garage are you going to park in? You can't just show up on Independence Avenue and expect to find a parking space like it's a suburban shopping mall. It's just not gonna happen. And hey, if you made it this far, then that means that you are really in to the cherry blossoms. So I highly recommend the Trip Hacks DC podcast episode on this topic that just posted on March 1st. I interviewed the president of the National Cherry Blossom Festival, and obviously she has a lot of insightful things to say. And if you can't wait till peak bloom, you can click or tap right over here to watch a 4K virtual tour that I recorded last year. And if you want to sign up for a Trip Hacks DC guided tour, do it soon because March and April tours are booking up quick. Enjoy your trip.